I'm Danielle. Welcome to my channel. This is where I do a lot of videos focused on everyday nutrition and fitness tips. So today I am going to show you the most important skill you will need to learn if you would like to lose weight and get your nutrition on point. Super easy. It's using a scale. We've all used scales to weigh ourselves, but a lot of people don't think to weigh your food. Now, this is actually pretty typical in other countries where they weigh and measure a lot of their foods. Just in America, it really hasn't caught on, but it is important if you want to know how much you're eating, how many calories are in your food, and those types of things. So this is a basic food scale. I think this was less than $10 on Amazon. You can get them anywhere. They sell them, every store basically has them. And what's really great about a food scale is it's going to show you those small measurements like grams. In America, we use the imperial system, so we use ounces, things like that. And most food labels will use grams. That's typically what they use in other countries, and it's just more of a scientific measurement because it goes to a smaller portion. So I am going to show you how to use a food scale today. So what's super important about learning to use a food scale is it's really going to help you pinpoint where you're going wrong with your diet. Now, there are some foods that are typically higher in calories, and those are the types of foods that you tend to overeat without even realizing it. It's going to be things like oil, cheese, butter, peanut butter, even meats, and what typically foods you would think of as healthy. It's very easy to overeat those, so this will allow you to get a proper portion size every single time. So I'm going to show you how to use your food scale. It's relatively easy. Here goes. So this is how we use a food scale. So as you can see, we have the 0 button and the power button. And then we also have the unit and the hold button. Now what you want to do is you want to set your scale to grams. I think that's the easiest way because that's going to give you a smaller, more precise unit of measurement. Now, foods that you typically want to weigh are going to be your higher fat foods, solely for the fact that higher fat foods have more calories. But also things like pasta, things like that, you want to do. So we've set our bowl on, and we just want to hit the 0 button, so it goes back to 0. That way it'll show us how much food we're actually adding to the bowl. So the first thing I'm going to show you is going to be ranch dressing. Now when you look at this label, there's 170 calories per serving. One serving is 2 tablespoons or 29 grams. You're actually going to be really surprised at how small of a portion this is. Because I know for me, I can typically add 6 to 8 tablespoons of salad dressing to a small salad and not think anything of it. But when you add up those calories, it does make a big difference. So, just to give you an idea, so we actually went a little over. This is 30 grams. And 31 grams. So as you can see, that's really not a lot of salad dressing. That's a serving that you would get, in a little teeny cup like this. About the size of the salad dressing lid. This is not a lot at all. That's why it's important to weigh, because this amount of salad dressing is 170 calories. Okay, so if we have something like an olive oil, you can weigh your olive oil on your scale. However, you could do just a regular tablespoon measurement too. What I suggest is to do a tablespoon, you want to make sure it's level, it's not pouring over. But if you have a pan, or even like if you have a plate of pasta, then that's the time where I would maybe put it on the scale, put the plate on the scale, and then add your oil. Now I'm going to show you a couple of foods that are huge culprits in overeating that people never think to measure. So I'm going to add my plate, zero it out, and I've got a piece of toasted bread. Zero it out again. Now, wait till you see this. Peanut butter. This is 180 calories for 2 tablespoons. If you eat peanut butter or you add it to a smoothie, you are adding a lot of calories to everything that you're eating. So I'm going to show you what 2 tablespoons or 32 grams of peanut butter looks like on a piece of bread. See, that's even a little over. That's 34. So we'll take a little bit out. All right, 32. So to give you an idea, this is crunchy peanut butter. This is what my kids like, but this really isn't a lot of peanut butter for this bread. It's a very thin smear. So if you're making a sandwich with this, you typically are probably going to add around 4 tablespoons of peanut butter, maybe even more. So you have to count in the calories of not only the peanut butter, but the bread into your sandwich. And I know for me personally, I wouldn't want to waste 600 calories on something like a peanut butter sandwich. Now I'm going to show you another big culprit in the way of overeating, mayonnaise. So this is real mayonnaise. As you can see, it's 110 calories for 1 tablespoon. That's barely anything. So we have our bread. We're going to measure this out. 1 tablespoon is equal to 14 grams, just to give you an idea of how much a tablespoon really looks like. Okay, there we go, 14 grams. So, when you think about every time you make a burger, you have the high-fat meat, then you have the high-fat cheese, then you have mayonnaise. That mayonnaise is really just taking your sandwich over the top. So as you can see, this really isn't a whole lot of mayonnaise. I mean, it's a decent amount, but when you consider that your sandwiches could have 100 calories less just by using something like mustard instead of mayonnaise, that's a great thing to keep in mind. Now I'm going to show you some shredded cheese. This is another one of those areas where you will typically overeat. So for this shredded cheese, a typical serving is 1/4 cup, and that's 110 calories. And that's 28 grams. So let's get an idea of what 28 grams of cheese really looks like. Okay, so there we go. So this is 110 calories worth of shredded cheese. Keep in mind, this is not a salad plate. This is just a saucer. So this is actually very little cheese. And if you think about for every casserole that you use, you'll add typically a full bag of shredded cheese. Think about how many servings of cheese that really is. So a great way to lessen your calories if you do want to use cheese in your food is either use less of it, weigh it out, measure it, get an accurate idea of how much cheese you're really using, or I typically will use low-fat cheeses, or I'll use more highly flavored cheeses. So instead of this cheddar blend, I might use a feta. I might use something like a Havarti. That's going to give you a lot more flavor for the same amount of calories than just this basic shredded cheese. Okay, the next thing we're going to weigh is pasta. So when you are weighing your pasta, you always want to weigh it dry, pre-cooked. You don't want to do it after you cook it because it'll absorb different amounts of water based on how long you cook it, if you add salt to the water, things like that. So it's best just to cook it raw. So a typical portion size of pasta is 2 ounces or 56 grams of raw pasta. And that's going to be about 200 calories. So let's weigh and see how much that is. Keep in mind too, this is a saucer. This is not a traditional size plate. I'm using a small saucer just so you can see the numbers on the scale with no issue. Oh, a little over. There we go. So as you can see on this tiny saucer, this is 56 grams of pasta, raw, uncooked. This really is not a big portion size at all. So you want to keep things like this in mind when you're preparing your food, because this is what is considered a traditional portion size. When we eat pasta, typically, we're eating a huge dinner plate. So that's, going to be about 5 servings of pasta. That's also 5 times the calories. So keep things like this in mind. Okay, the last food I'm going to show you is going to be some pre-cooked grilled chicken breast strips. Now, a typical serving of chicken is going to be about 3 ounces or 85 grams. And that's going to be 110 calories. So that doesn't sound bad. Only 110 calories sounds like a decent amount of calories for a portion size, but let's just see what 3 ounces really looks like. So this is a little over, but it does give you a good idea. This is 87 grams. So this is going to be roughly about 115 calories, somewhere in that area. But as you can see, this is not really a lot of meat. Keep in mind, once again, hate to say the same thing over and over, but this is a saucer. This is not a regular plate. I'll show you what a regular plate is. This is a regular dinner plate. So you can see the comparison there. When we put this on a dinner plate, it definitely does not seem like a lot. So this is why measuring and weighing your food is so important, because what we consider a traditional portion size is actually a lot different than the amount of food that we're actually eating. So thank you for watching, and I hope that you found this informative, and I hope it kind of teaches you a little more of what a portion should look like, but most importantly, how to weigh your food. This is so integral to any weight loss plan because it not only teaches you portion sizes, but it also just quickly allows you to say, hey, I've got this higher calorie food and I want to make sure I don't overeat it. Also, if you're a baker like I am, most really good recipes that involve baking are going to be an exact science, and you're going to want to use your scale. Your scale will open up a lot more opportunities for different recipes that are international, because most of these recipes will use grams, and we just in America don't have the measuring capabilities. So that's where a scale is going to help you out a lot. So I hope that you find this informative. I hope it helps. Let me know if you have any other questions. I try to monitor all the comments, and if anyone has any questions, I try to answer them. So thank you.